Okay, so now we want to tidy the base paths up ready for game day. But this is also all the maintenance that needs to be done at the end of the game for the base pass. And everything can be done with a broom. Making sure the broom goes to the ground like this, and you're actually leaning it over so the bristles are touching but they're not dragging hard. What you do, keep it down there, looking at the line, follow it along. Follow the edge of the broom along and you can see we're brooming the line. When we're doing base path maintenance after a game, the only tool you need for the base pass is the broom. As I said, we're dragging it along, just the bristles on the ground, but on the backside, and that's all we need to do to smooth it over for after game. No rakes need to be put onto the base pass. That can be done at a later by the grounds crew. When we're actually brooming the base pass, we do one continuous stroke down the base pass. We never ever want to go across. If we do this, we get big build-ups, and the worst thing that can happen is the decay comes on the grass, and that builds the edges of the grasses up, which is what we don't want. So making sure that we're just running with the base path all the way down. To make sure that we're actually getting between the chalk line and the grass, you can actually do it one way up against the chalk line and on the way back against the grass edge. So here we're doing the same thing, just coming along close to the edge of the grass. So we're covering up any holes, but we're not actually spilling the deco onto the grass. So we've done against the edge of the grass. When we come back, we come down beside the edge of the chalk line, kneading it up there, getting rid of any of the bumps, and we'll be ready for game time. This process is the same for both sides of the base path. One pass, doing down the line, and then the second pass, you can be coming down against the edge of the grass. Remembering never to go crossways. All right, the last game of the day, we need to put the equipment away. So we need to get the bases out and put the base plugs back in. Just lifting them up, taking the base plug, placing it in the hole. Last thing we can do is we always see a build-up here around the base. So we need to move that into this area. So on the back side of the rake, put it on the inside of the chalk line, just give it a drag across, flicking it into here. Just a couple of times of that, and that's all that needs to happen here. For doing this small area around where these cutouts are, we can use either the rake or the screed to smoothen the area out. So I'll just put this down. With the screed, it's just a light brushing over. Whether we're using the rake or the screed, along the edge of the grass, we come along the edge, like this. Never do we go this way towards the grass, as it puts deco onto the grass. So remember, always along the edge this way. Okay, so we put the drag mat down, not touching the line, and whether you want to hold it here or back here, it's up to you. But we drag it down, making sure that we don't go onto the grass, but we go close to the grass edge, heading in the same direction as the grass edge. So when you're coming back up, as you've done down the line, now you move it over one section, overlapping where you've been, dragging it back up. When you turn around, make sure you don't touch the chalk. These drag mats, you can see there's 4 of them. They get hung up with bolts that are supplied for it. Okay, once again, the last person at the last game of the day, we need to tidy this area up before we put the tarps back on. This can be done with either the screed or the rake again, just giving it a light rake over to smooth things out. I'll show you with the rake. Making sure you don't rub over the chalk, you're just missing all that. and that you're not rubbing anything onto the grass. So at the end of the day, we're about to put the tarps back on home plate here and all the mound. And you might find that there's parts of the clay that have been dug out. This is a normal part of playing the game, but we just like you to notify us and let us know that it's about that. So there's an email you can contact at Sports Ops, and we'll then be able to get it repaired. At the end of the day, again, we've got to clean up the mounds before we put the tarps on. It can either be done with the screed or with the rake, and it's the same as the other parts like around home plate, where we want to keep decal off the grass and raking it just so it's a little bit smooth, that's all. At the same time, if you do get any of the clay that's been damaged, you can contact the Sports Op and they'll notify the grounds crew to come and repair it. On this better, you're always better to come away from the grass, never towards it. So just pushing it up like this. Or alternatively, you can come around, but you're never dragging towards the grass. And up the top here, just needs a nice little even coverage across everything, just to flatten it out. All the way right down to the tongue here. See, along the grass edge. When you get towards the end here, be very careful pushing away from here, away from the grass. Okay, we finished up for the day. You've given it a light rake over and you see there's some damage either here on the clay or at home plate. Just remember, email Sports Ops and we'll be able to get someone to fix it. Okay, after you finish the bullpen session, we want to clean it up so it's ready for the next person to use. We don't want any holes left there or anything. We want to make it nice and clean. To do that, there's a few tools we've got here that you can use. We have the rake, and we also have a hose. So the first thing you want to do is actually rake the area so that it's nice and flat. Okay, we don't want any holes. You can see holes here. Rake some in. Bring it in there nice and flat. Then you can come and get the hose. Turn the hose on and just give it a light wet. Doesn't have to be a lot. We'll just, if everyone does this after each session, we'll make sure it's nice and packed in for the next person. When you're raking the bullpens, it's not only the pitching end, but it's also the catching end. Make sure it's nice and flat here for the next person to be able to play, make it safe for them. All right, lastly, just give the dugout's a bit of a sweep out. Making sure you sweep all this out, because at the end of the day, this is our club, and it's all about leaving it better for the next people than you actually found it. Once you've swept everything out, you want to make sure the tools go back in the rack. As you can see, they're all clearly marked.